Ready or not, here it comes. Shadowlands is showing up in 7 days' time from the release of this video. Hopefully it comes out this Monday. And there are a few things that I'm going to be doing that I think you should be doing to get ready. Let's get into it. So the first one of these things should be pretty obvious. That's pick a main. Now, I'm here on the Wowhead website of all the class changes that happened in Shadowlands. I've done several videos for several different classes and specs. You can check those out. Preach has done some videos. There's been some videos all over YouTube about different class changes. Do some homework. Decide on your main for Shadowlands. There's going to be plenty of incentive to play alts in Shadowlands, but for the first character, you should probably choose a main and choose something to focus on, at least in the very beginning of the expansion, so you can explore the content and get things done, and then maybe decide on your next character. So here's a resource on Wowhead. These are all the Death Knight, etc. class changes. For this video, I'm going to be choosing a Death Knight as my main, so we can kind of go into that. So these are all the changes to Frost, Blood, and Unholy, and I can decide whether or not that class is for me. Additionally, you should look at your Covenant choices. So if you've been living under a rock and have no idea what Covenants are the new system coming in Shadowlands. So once you pick a Covenant, you will sort of be locked into that Covenant. You can switch to other Covenants one time, but you can't switch to one that you have already been. So for example, if you choose Kyrian in the very beginning, decide you want to be a Necro Lord 2 weeks into the expansion, and then decide, maybe I didn't like that so much, I want to go back to Kyrian, that's going to be a much harder process. It's going to take about 2 weeks. If that doesn't bother you, then maybe this step isn't as important. But for me, if my main had to be Night Fae to be the most performance-minded optimal, I don't know if I would choose that as one of my main characters to play. That's just not something that I enjoy. Now, maybe you really, really like Night Fae, and so maybe your main can't pick Night Fae without suffering pretty big performance losses. Now, maybe you care about that, maybe you don't, but this is something that you should at least look at if you are on the performance end of the spectrum. Maybe you want to be Venthyr on your Warlock, but can't because Kyrian happens to be the best. I'm not saying it is or isn't, and that can always change as Blizzard patches things throughout the expansion. This is just something that I wanted to throw your guys' way and something to think about, because you're not just choosing a Paladin. Blizzard wants you to choose a Kyrian Paladin, or a Necrolord Paladin, or a Night Fae Paladin, etc., etc. These things impacted my choice and may impact your choice as well. So once you've chosen your main, the next thing I would suggest is setting up your UI. So I have a UI video of how to get my UI. There's hundreds of UIs online. Preach just released his new one. There's tons of weak auras and things like that, ways to customize your character. If you are interested in mine and how I set it up, I have another video for that. Link for that is in the description below. But I would just recommend setting up your UI for your main character. I already have it set up here on this Death Knight, and I'm ready to go. But this is definitely something you should do before the expansion launches, so you're ready to go before you start adventuring into the Shadowlands. Once your UI is set up, let's get a higher item level. There's tons of ways to do that, and the reason for getting a higher item level is because it just makes questing faster. The first couple of zones, you're not going to get too many upgrades, or, depending on your current item level, you may not get too many upgrades. This Death Knight's only item level 91, so I might be able to get some upgrades, but we have the pre-patch event right now, and it's pretty easy to get a full set of item level 100 gear. You can get an item level 115 weapon from Nathanos. He's the world boss. He's up right now. You can kill him twice. If you see this video early enough, you can kill him once right now, today on Monday, and you can kill him again tomorrow or after reset and get another weapon. This is a good idea. You can get your characters up to item level 100 plus. I would strongly recommend coming and getting this gear. It's super easy to get. You can just spend some time killing some rares out here in Icecrown. There is a useful add-on called Rare Tracker, I believe. I will link that in the description below as well, that you can use to kind of track the progress of these rares and get some of the items from them. So I know, hey, this Brawnham over here, he drops item level 100 gloves with crit and haste. Those are good. I can wait for him to be up and come and kill him. This process of getting your character more geared up is going to save you time while you're leveling. and I would strongly recommend it. But I wouldn't go too ham with it. I wouldn't be like buying a mythic carry or anything like that. Maybe run some mythic dungeons, maybe run heroic Nyalotha if you're really feeling up to it, or if you already have a guild, which sort of segues into the next point. Find a guild. So there are tons of resources online. The first one being WoW Progress. So in order to find a guild, you need to have a good idea of what you want out of a guild. So if you're a raiding guild, or if you're a raider or like want to be, you should jump on WoW Progress. There's a list of high-end guilds you can sort by your server. So if I was to look at Realms, US, and let's say I played on Thrall, I can see, oh, hey, look, there's these guilds on Thrall that have cleared Mythic. Well, maybe I'm not that hardcore. Maybe I'm looking for something a little more low-key. So I could select one of these lower level guilds down here, and I could join one of them. You can reach in here. A lot of them have their contact info, or at least some sort of website there. You can find out who the guild master is. You can contact them, and you can join them. Finding a guild makes World of Warcraft better. I would strongly recommend you do it. It makes pugging easier. It makes leveling easier. It makes raiding easier. Everything is better when you're in a guild with people you actually enjoy. Don't be afraid of filling out a guild application. Don't be afraid of getting some logs together if you're a high-end player. Just do it. It's totally worth the 15-20 minutes of your time, so that way you can spend the rest of your leisure time really enjoying yourself and playing with people that have like-minded goals. Another thing to note as it comes to guild recruitment, there's also the official WoW forums, there's MMO champion forums, and there's Reddit that also have all of these guilds that are all looking for players. They have different progression levels. They like, this one is looking for everybody. This one is looking for late night raiding, etc., etc. All of these people are looking for other people to play with. So you should definitely be using this resource and all of these resources if you're looking to play this multiplayer game. It's way more fun, I promise. Give it a try if you don't already have a guild. So once you have chosen a main, done your homework on Covenant choice, really decided on your main, you've set up your UI, you've got yourself a higher item level, you found a guild, and these things can all sort of happen at the same time. The next thing you should do is clean out your bags, your bank, and your quest log. So none of these quests that I have are going to help me in Shadowlands. Not a single one. You can get to 60 fairly easily in Shadowlands, doing only those quests there. There's no reason to save up a bunch of dailies to turn in at the last minute. That's something that's very old and not something anyone uses anymore. So I can go in and I can clear out all of these old quests. So that's a quest from Legion. This is a quest from the Vision of N'Zoth. I'm not going to be doing any of these. Maybe you want to go through and you want to complete these quests because you want to get some BFA achievements or things like that before any of the content like gets old and before you like get into Shadowlands. That's totally fine. But for me, I'm just going to delete these. What I would recommend and what saves you the most time is having nice, clean, organized things so only Shadowlands stuff comes in. That being said, clean out your bank too. Clean out your bags. I don't need any of this gear. I should just vendor it off. I should sell it off, and I'm going to. There's no reason to have any of this stuff if it's not a higher item level or if it's not like a very powerful item that you should be keeping for leveling. You should just be selling this stuff off or disenchanting it. And that sort of segues into the next thing. Clean out your bank. Sell all of your Battle for Azeroth stuff. Get rid of all of it. All of those resources are not going to be very useful to you in Shadowlands. You want a fresh character with fresh, clean bags with nothing in them, so you're ready to just level and progress. Once all of that is done, the next thing you do is get some consumables. Now, this is sort of an optional step and something that I'm choosing to do so I can level faster. But one of the things you'll probably want to do is level pretty quickly. And for that, consumables help. Flasks, food, and more specifically, goblin gliders and gun shoes. Those are going to be useful at max level. Those are going to be useful for the maw because you won't be able to mount in the maw. These are very, very important things that you can use to your advantage to get you ahead of the pack and to just save you some time. Especially if you have limited time to play the expansion because it's being released on Thanksgiving week for us here in the US. There's also Christmas coming up shortly afterward. You're probably going to have a lot of prior engagements and things going on. So it's important to maximize, at least for me, it's important for me to maximize my playtime so I'm being as efficient as possible and I can get the things done that I want to get done without having to stress. Those little speed increases, they add up. Even if it's 2-3 minutes per quest, that's saving you hours over the course of your beginning of Shadowlands experience. It's definitely something that I would strongly recommend. Again, flasks, potions, augment runes, gun shoes, and goblin gliders. I would have about 100 gun shoes on your character. I would have about 100 goblin gliders on your character. Just things like that so you have them on hand. And since your bags will be empty, you'll have plenty of room for them. And finally, coming to the end of the video, some IRL stuff. Get some drinks for the expansion release, get some snacks ready, go to the gym the day before Shadowlands releases, say goodbye to your wife and kids. Let them know that you're going to be indulging in your hobby, especially if you plan to sit down and grind things out for a little while like I do. I'm going to be doing a 48-hour stream on Shadowlands release, so that'll be fun. But those sorts of things. Clean up your desk. Make sure everything's neat and tidy so that way you're not stressed out. You're not like rummaging around in filth. Get yourself all tidied up, ready to go. And this is a happy time for most of us gamers. Like, I'm super excited for Shadowlands release. It's going to be so much better than BFA, at least from everything that I've seen. I'm very, very excited to play the new content. I'm excited to explore, and I'm ready to just play the game again seriously and take it, like, you know, spend most of my leisure time doing it. And I hope you are too. I hope you guys are as excited for Shadowlands as I am. Again, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday on Twitch. Link to that will be in the description below. Hopefully this video was helpful and maybe brought some things to your attention that maybe you didn't think of, or did I miss something? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, guys, I will see you in Shadowlands. Have a good one.